Okay, there are a number of commodities that are interesting at the moment. Gold is obviously quite hot. I mean, it's up about 16% year to date. There's large demand from gold from India and China. Asia constitutes about 65% of demand in physical gold, and that's increasing as the rising incomes and GDP of some of these Asian economies increase as well. So gold's quite hot. Obviously cobalt's hot, part of the whole electric vehicle, lithium-ion batteries. Lithium's been hot for a while, so I think they're the hot commodities at the moment, but the industry is very cyclical, so what's hot now might not be hot in the near future, and what's not hot now is actually probably good buying. So some of the base metals have had some good runs in the past, so nickel's up even 5% over the last few days, so it's generally quite a buoyant industry. Supply side crunch, I'd say cobalt is an interesting one because 66% of the world's cobalt comes from the DRC in Africa, so there's a concentration risk, and the demand is actually ahead of the supply. Usually demand is quick to move up and supply catches up, so I think that's a case of cobalt, and you can see I think the cobalt price is up in the last 12 months about 88%, so there's definitely a supply crunch there. In terms of other commodities, supply, there might be coming up perhaps copper. It's a good commodity. There's always an issue with copper in supply because once again there's concentration of copper in certain Latin American countries, and there's always a need for copper. It's very difficult to substitute it, so I think copper's probably coming up with a supply crunch as well. I actually hate to call the bottom, but I think we're actually past the bottom. And you can just see from the conference, the buzz around the conference this year compared to last year or previous years, it's much more a buoyant mood. You know, some of the leading indicators are when the big companies start doing some M&A deals and they start to put money into exploration, and some of the existing core assets like Newcrest is investing quite heavily in their existing Cadia mine and actually looking at expansion overseas. So they're kind of leading indicators. When the big guys start doing this, now the smaller exploration guys are coming in. So I think we're sort of coming up on the cusp of a potential positive bull mining cycle. Well, at the conference in the last few days, I've seen a few of the juniors, Minotaur Exploration, White Rock, Magmatic Resources and Navarre are all companies that are showcasing their assets here, and a lot of them have got some strong exploration potential. Look, I think IMARC's great. It's great to be in Melbourne because Melbourne's actually quite a key centre of excellence for some of the big mining and smaller companies. So BHP, Newcrest, Rio, all here. So as a mining expert, I like to come to Melbourne because there's always a lot of buzz in the industry. There's a lot of big investors here. IMARC's good because it gives me a temperature feel, a barometer of how the industry is going. And having been to IMARC the last few years, I think this year's probably one of the better ones in the last 2 or 3 years, so that's good. It's very well organised. There's a good mix of investors and small companies and contractors and service providers, so it's all quite good. The weather's been a bit tough. It's a bit cold, you know, coming from Singapore or Sydney, so you need to turn on the weather next event, but otherwise it's very good. Lots of benefits here and lots of networking.